Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my review for WWE NXT UK for December 5th, 2019, episode 72. And we have the commentary team of Nigel McGuinness and Tom Phillips. Everybody knows how I feel about Tom Phillips on commentary, so we'll just move on from that. And it kicked right off with the match. It was Tony Storm versus Killer Kelly. This is really one of the only negatives of the show. Tony Storm just immediately squashes her, beats her with the Storm Zero, and I get it. They want to bring back Tony Storm because this is technically like her first match since she lost the NXT UK Women's Championship, so they want to make her look strong. But why did it have to come at the expense of Killer Kelly? It's like we talked about on the Wrestling Rundown before. Right when Killer Kelly comes back from injury, it's right back to the status quo. She just continuously gets jobbed out, and it's actually pretty ridiculous, and to me it's just really not believable that Tony Storm would just come out there and just immediately just squash Killer Kelly. Just really not a fan of that. Afterwards, she's about to cut a promo, but then she gets attacked from behind by Kaylee Ray, and then Piper Niven runs out to make the save, and afterwards she tries to help up Tony Storm, but Tony Storm isn't having it, so there's that. Looks like they're setting up a triple threat match. Really don't have a lot of interest in that, but whatever. Then Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster get interviewed, and they talk about how they think it's BS that the Grizzled Young Veterans should have an NXT UK Tag Team title match because they were about to beat them before Gallus and Imperium interfered. And they say that they're, just going to try to do the right things and earn themselves an NXT UK Tag Team title match. And they also want to prove that, like, their win in NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff wasn't a fluke. So there's that. Then Tony Storm's backstage, and Piper Niven comes up to her, and she just blows her off and says she doesn't want the help. So Piper Niven's upset. So there was that. Then we had the Hunt versus the Outliers. This is the first time we've seen this tag team. It's Riddick Moss and Dorian Mack. They've been wrestling on house shows on the NXT USA's version. So they put them on NXT UK. I think NXT UK is kind of becoming like the old format that NXT used to have, where they're going to take all the green wrestlers that, NXT has and just put them on UK, kind of, because they can't really do these type of matches in NXT on USA Network, so I think that's what's going on here. But this match actually was pretty good. Dorian Mack and Riddick Moss are actually a pretty decent tag team, and they just destroy what's his name? Wild Boar. For a long time. They have him beat at one point with a sit-out chokeslam, but they don't make the cover. And then eventually Primate gets the hot tag, and he starts going off on Riddick Moss, and they pretty much gain the advantage. They get the big hot tag and win with the double headbutts for the win. They did one simultaneously and then one together, which was cool. And yeah, I liked it. I thought this match actually was pretty good. It was way better than I expected it to be. And I like how it made the Hunt look strong, that they were able to come back from getting their asses kicked throughout the first part of the match. Then we had another match that I thought was great. It was Jordan Devlin versus A-Kid. A-Kid gets some offense in the beginning, but then Jordan Devlin just immediately cuts him off, and he starts targeting the leg of A-Kid. And he at one point just bends his hip all the way back, like his leg all the way up to his hip. It was actually pretty brutal, to the point where Tyler Bate runs out and he's been like a mentor to A-Kid. Then Jordan Devlin just methodically picks apart A-Kid, but A-Kid immediately comes back. He hits a wicked springboard snapmare into the ring, which was cool. He hits a suicide dive on the outside, but he's unable to get back into the ring because of his leg, and eventually Devlin just kicks him right in the side of the head, and eventually just hits wicked kicks right onto A-Kid, and then he hits the Devlin side for the win right in front of Tyler Bate, and then that was that. It was great stuff. I really enjoyed this. I thought it made Devlin look really strong. I like how they sold it by having Nigel McGuinness even get mad because he's supposed to be the heel commentator. And if he's getting mad, then it's a big deal. And it looks like this is being used to finally set up that match between Tyler Bate and Jordan Devlin, which I'm excited about. We haven't seen them wrestle yet, so. And then Ginny and Jazzy Gabba are backstage. They're pretty much teasing a breakup angle, and yeah, that was pretty much that. I'm actually happy about that because I think Jazzy Gabba could just be so much better on her own. If it was me, I'd have her in NXT US and just have squash matches and really build her up to go for the women's title in NXT, but that's just me. Then we had a triple threat match. It was Joseph Connors versus Travis Banks versus Ligero. When I finally saw the match and how they kind of laid it out, it really didn't make sense why Joseph Connors asked for a triple threat match. Because about the beginning portion of this matchup, Ligero and Travis Banks are just working together and just destroying Joseph Connors. But eventually, I guess it made sense because Banks and Ligero were so obsessed with kind of taking out each other and getting the win that Connors kind of used that to his advantage. But I don't know, it still just kind of didn't really make any sense to me. Would have just done like a handicap, like a tag team match where Connors went and got a tag team partner or something. But one thing I didn't like about this match was it was just kind of that traditional triple threat match where you had Joseph Connors not really doing anything. And I get that was what they were trying to go for here, but it's typical triple threat matches. We see that all the time. And you had a lot of no-selling in this match. Like you had Ligero hit the C4L, and then Travis Banks hit the Kiwi Crusher, and Joseph Connors hit the Don't Look Down on Ligero, and then all of a sudden they're just up back on their feet doing stuff. They just literally no-sold people's finishes. Like, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But other than that, Joseph Connors beats Travis Banks with Don't Look Down. So that was that. I was happy Joseph Connors won. He needed the win more than these two because he's really not been made to look all that strong. Not a fan of his gimmick, where pretty much his whole thing is it should have been him. It's the same thing we've seen, and it's old, so there you go. Then Cassius Ohno's backstage, and he said he's not going to make any excuses about why he lost to Tyler Bate, and then proceeds to do that, and says pretty much that he's just going to lessen his work even more. He said he's not going to be the knockout artist. He's just going to do rest holds now. So he's pretty much just going to give more excuses why he doesn't have to work on his cardio. So there you go. Then we had the negotiations between Imperium and Gallus, which was being represented by Joe Coffey and Walter. Joe Coffey wants an NXT or a WWE United Kingdom Championship match where because he doesn't forget that Walter's the one that took him out at NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool earlier this year. So he wants the match, and Walter said that he'll give him the match on two conditions. Only if Marcel Bartel and Fabian Aichner can have an NXT UK Tag Team title match against Wolfgang and Mark Coffey, and if Alexander Wolf can face Ilya Dragunov in a no disqualification match. Well, first Joe Coffey agrees to the NXT UK Tag title match, but he's being such a hothead, he's not letting Walter finish. Then when Walter finally finishes, then he says that. And then Joe Coffey's like, well, I can't control Ilya Dragunov because he's not a part of Gallus. So then Ilya Dragunov comes out and he says, make the match, pretty much. So the terms are met. So we find out on the next episode, we're gonna have Fabian Aichner and Marcel Bartel go for the NXT UK Tag Team titles against Wolfgang and Mark Coffey. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna put the titles on them on just a random episode of NXT UK. I think they're gonna do some type of screwy finish, and then they're gonna have the match at UK Takeover Blackpool. I don't know why they didn't just two anyways. I don't know why they didn't just save the match for then, but whatever. And at a future show, which probably should be NXT UK Takeover Blackpool 2, we're gonna have that no disqualification match between Alexander Wolf and Ilya Dragunov, and we also find out that in the main event of NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2, we're going to have Walter defend his WWE United Kingdom Championship against Joe Coffey, which makes all the types of sense. They have a history going back to a year. It'd just be better if Joe Coffey had been booked a bit stronger. because you know, he was doing fine up until that last man standing match. He had an NXT UK Takeover Cardiff, and they've been booking him better, but I feel like, you know, you just know Walter's not losing the championship. Especially too because I think they have that Worlds Collide show going on, and they want to keep him looking as strong as possible for whoever he faces. So afterwards, that was pretty much that. Yeah, you know, Joe Coffey leaves. Walter's talking to Ilya Dragunov. He tries to tell him to come into the ring. We find out it's really a trap. Alexander Wolf's under the ring. He pulls him, and then Imperium beats up Ilya Dragunov, and Alexander Wolf power bombs him through a table, and then that was pretty much that. I thought the segment though was really good, and this actually was a great show. This is the first time I've enjoyed NXT UK in a while, and I thought the show was great. I really enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed. The only thing I really didn't care for on this show was what they did was the Cassius Ohno stuff and what they did with the NXT UK Women's Title. Really didn't care much for that stuff, but everything else I thought was either good to great on this show. We'll see if they can keep this momentum, because then they'll have a great show, and then the next week just kind of is a bad show, and then it kind of, you know, it kind of makes this show kind of meaningless because whatever. But I'll give it a B plus. It was great. I'm gonna give it an 88 out of 100. But all this type of stuff was enjoyable. And yeah, I'm actually starting to get kind of excited for NXT UK Takeover Blackpool too. I am excited for Walter versus Joe Coffey. I think that's going to be a hell of a match. I like that and it's a match that's been a year in the making, because when Walter came in, he took out Joe Coffey. So I'm excited for it. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people will watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell, so that way every time you upload a video, you guys get the notifications for it. And make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM Brothers and No One the Talking Idiot YouTube channel. Is going to be doing a channel update video on that channel on Wednesday. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.